Evil
dies
tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight.
Welcome to a special episode of The Spooky Screen, a podcast or a show where five friends get together and review movies and sometimes TV shows. On this episode, we will be reviewing Halloween Ends, the much anticipated final chapter of the new Halloween trilogy, directed by David Gordon Green, released by Universal Studios. But before we get into that, can you please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, like the episode, share with your family and friends, and comment. Again, before we get into how we feel about Halloween Ends, we're going to play a little game. Tonight, Michael Myers is on the prowl. As you can see, he's already gotten this poor little trick-or-treater all by himself trick-or-treating. I have been slain by Michael Myers brutally, and the rest of the hosts are in danger as well tonight. So, when they hear this sound, they will text me, "Run away." The last person to text "run away" in that round will be killed by Michael Myers. The last person to survive out of the four of them will be named the final girl. And victory shall be theirs. So, before we start, I guess I should say a little synopsis.
Are you going to introduce us?
Oh, yeah, let me introduce my hosts. Yeah, let me introduce our potential victims and final girl. We have Nick returning to us after a sabbatical. Nick, say hi.
Hello.
And tell us who you're going as trick-or-treating for Halloween.
I'm trick-or-treating as a kid who can't keep his mask on. Jeez, I'm trick-or-treating as a shy guy from Mario.
All right, great.
You'd be the kid that was slowing us down.
And we got our friendly neighborhood David. What are you going as?
Hey guys, I'm the Shape from the original Halloween movie, from the scene where he dresses up as a ghost.
You're just missing the glasses. Oh man. Okay.
I got a knife though.
Yeah, good job. Then we got our hot shot Steven. What are you going as this year to Halloween?
I'm going as Tom Cruise, playing as Maverick in the remake
Nice.
Top Gun Maverick.
Nice. You look good. You look good. And then we got our friend, Jonny. Oh my God.
Little did you know.
Johnny's that kid that you take trick-or-treating with you. Jonny, what are you going as?
I put the trick in Trick or Treat.
Oh yeah.
I am Pumpkinhead,
Jonny is Pumpkinhead.
the great lord of Halloween.
Wonderful.
Pumpkin, the king
And
of
you can
ghosts.
breathe fine in that mask all night, right, Jonny?
I can breathe good as long as I have cold water and a straw. And I find the hole somewhere in this mask. You know, okay.
I'm gonna have
Pumpkins
to
need lots of hydration.
eye and then just
That's good.
All right, let me read the synopsis of Halloween Ends. As you remember, we have reviewed Halloween Kills. It is in our podcast audio only, so go back and listen to it whenever you get a chance. We were not happy about it. I believe Steven gave it a 0. So we'll see if Halloween Ends comes out victorious, redeems itself, so to speak. So let me read the synopsis so everyone's caught up to speed. I'm going to put my werewolf mask on. 4 years after her last encounter with masked killer Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is living with her granddaughter and trying to finish her memoir. Myers hasn't been seen since, and Laurie finally decides to liberate herself from rage and fear and embrace life. However, when a young man stands accused of murdering a boy that he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that forces Laurie to confront the evil she can't control. As always, if you're new to our show or you're returning, we don't rate things out of 10 anymore. What we do is we do pay, stream, or skip. Pay means it's worthy to be paid for. It's that good that you will pay to see it in theaters or pay when it's VOD. Stream means it was good but not great, but still worth your time. You should wait till it's free on a platform that you already pay for, or free anywhere, but you should still watch it. And skip means do not watch it. Don't pay for it. It's not worth your time. It sucks. So that's what we do that's what we do. We do pay, stream, and skip. So on the count of 3, David has been murdered.
Oh my goodness.
Michael Myers heads off into the night once again. All right. With that being said, on the count of 3, we're going to reveal how our recommendation for the movie pay, streams, or skip. David, you can participate, but you can no longer participate in avoiding Michael Myers. You can no longer be the final gore. You're the first victim. Okay.
No, I can see your sign.
Oh, shoot.
You are not
Ready?
the Lord of Halloween.
1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness. We got a unanimous vote of skip. Everyone is voting skip on Halloween Ends. Yikes. All right. Why don't we start with the Pumpkin Lord first? Tell me why you didn't enjoy this movie. Why is it so bad that you recommend to skip it?
You know, when I saw Halloween Kills, I thought I saw the worst Halloween movie makeable. And now I love that movie significantly. It blows my mind how you can take a franchise like Halloween, a classic like the original Halloween, and have the original actress and completely drop the ball. The main villain of Halloween, Michael Myers, is but a geriatric note in this movie. Lifeless and useless. The new villain, who shall not be named because I don't want to spoil it, is uninteresting and unconvincing. The kills are uninteresting and not that powerful. There's no fear, no scariness, no gore, nothing about the original Halloween movies. Why is this the last one? No one knows. No one will ever know. Terrible. I smash all my pumpkins.
All right. Such strong feelings from the Pumpkin Lord today. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
That heartfelt opinion.
You're welcome.
Really, you
You're
love
welcome. You're welcome.
you love Halloween Kills now, but you hate Halloween Ends.
Halloween Kills. 2 thumbs up.
Okay, pay for it all day. All right, moving on to Nick the Shy Guy. I believe you have very strong feelings about this as well. Tell us why. Why do you skip it?
This movie is a big skip because it has absolutely nothing to do with anything that has to do with the movie Halloween at all. This is just a movie that just so happens to guest star Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Schroeder with like a guest spot by Michael Myers. Like, he has supernatural powers, and when the plot calls for it, otherwise he's like a geriatric old man. Like, isn't he like, they're like, oh my god, he's so scary, but he's also like, look, even I know I'm old. Like, it just makes no sense. This movie felt like the Lifetime version of Halloween. It's just devoid of any life, any semblance of the movie that has to do with Michael Myers. I don't know how Jamie Lee Curtis could sign on to this movie and be like, yeah, this is a very acceptable ending for this entire franchise until it gets rebooted again. Like, there's no way the original directors of this movie were just like, yeah, this is acceptable, because it's that bad.
Let's move to our murdered ghost, our poor murdered ghost, David. Tell us why you chose to skip this movie.
You know, what's most frustrating about this movie, I think, is, Johnny and Nick alluded to it, is that they pump this up as the showdown of the lifetime Laurie Strode against Michael. And what did we get? Really bad chemistry, horribly written romance between some sort of new Michael protege killer. It was just horrible. You're like, where is Michael? We came to see Michael. We came to see Michael do what Michael does. We don't need any of this like otherly badly written uh characters. And for one, it was just like plot contrivances after plot contrivances. Like they did that whole scene with, I guess this kind of spoilery, but like there's a fight between Lori and one of her family members, and it's just like it gets resolved in the last 5 minutes of the movie. It's like, so why?
You mean
Why
her
put
only daughter, her granddaughter?
her granddaughter? Right.
Okay, her only family member.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it gets resolved so quickly where it's like, so you just did that to pad extra time or to create like conflict that there was no payoff. It just seemed like right after like the first 10-20 minutes they just were like pulling things out of their hat. And I have a really sinking feeling of why they did it, and I had like a realization early the morning after I watched this movie, and we can get into that later. But yeah, this shouldn't be in the Halloween franchise.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Murdered Ghost Boy. I appreciate your thoughts, and my prayers are with you and your family in this hard time.
Go in peace, brother.
Go in peace.
Go priests.
Go.
Yeah, you
Nick,
know.
what is wrong with you?
Yeah, got it.
All right. Now to our resident Top Gun, Steven.
Yeah, guys, what happened? Oh my gosh.
Stabbing sound, blood splatter. Nick, the shy guy, has been murdered by Michael Myers. He claims another victim and heads back into the night. All right, moving on. Steven, you were saying something? Why would you skip this movie?
Yeah, so I would skip Halloween Ends because this is a movie that has completely lost all sense of what the franchise is, the genre that it's playing in, and it just completely wastes Jamie Lee Curtis's talents as our classic final girl. And I just think that it does a complete disservice to her character, to the villain, Michael Myers, and I just don't know what they were trying to accomplish with this movie. I had low expectations after Halloween Kills because I didn't enjoy that movie. And when I look back on it, like Johnny and Nick said, I actually come away appreciating that movie, even though I gave it a big fat old 0 around this time last year, because it at least stuck to its guns, right?
Oh yeah.
Halloween Ends, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but you literally catch the first glimpse of Michael Myers in a Halloween movie about 40 to 50 minutes into the film, and he's stuck inside a sewer system and you have no idea why. Keeping Michael Myers underground in a sewer system is like the great big metaphor for this film. It's like like just piling on shit onto the franchise and just burying it and just making it completely unrecognizable. I just thought, I felt like the actors were really giving their best, and I think that's probably the only redeeming part of this movie. It's just such a shame that the writing was just so subpar. This is honestly one of the most. I thought it was well filmed, and like there were certain shots that, like David or Murdered Ghost Man was saying, that did catch my eye. I just found the writing to be so bad. I I just yeah, I would recommend that no one watch this movie.
So skip. Noticing a pattern here, I will give my 2 cents. And my 2 cents, I will warn you, is filled with spoilers. I will not be holding back. So if you don't want to hear my opinion, you can skip to the end, or you can whatever. I don't care.
Can I skip?
You can skip, John.
I'm
You
kidding.
can skip.
I want to hear your
All right.
thoughts.
So my thoughts are Halloween Ends does not feel like a Halloween movie. And of course, I echo the sentiments of all my hosts. I completely agree with them. But Halloween Ends does not feel like it should be a part of the franchise. Like it was just all these weird, bizarre story choices that didn't quite fit. And it just felt wrong. It felt like jamming puzzle pieces from two different puzzles together, and it didn't work. It didn't work at all. And so, without a doubt, Halloween Ends for me is the worst movie I've seen in 2022, and I agree with everyone. Halloween Kills looks like um,
The Shining.
The Godfather, The Shining, compared to this movie, and that's why I've chosen. That's why I've chosen to skip it.
Could I say one thing? One of the best comments left on a review for this film was that they now reflect on the new trilogy for Halloween, and they realize that everything that has kind of happened in Halloween, what was it? The original, the new Halloween, Kills, and then Halloween Ends should have happened in reverse. So what they meant by that was you should have started out with Laurie living her life with her granddaughter and her daughter, not afraid of Michael Myers because he's hasn't attacked or he's in jail. So that's the first movie, and then it ends with him being released from jail and then going on a murderous rampage. The second movie is the town having had enough, goes after Mike Myers with Laurie. That's where her daughter dies. Second movie, big tragedy. And then the third movie should have been Laurie from the beginning, first Halloween, where she's in a house. She's set all these traps for Michael to come after her, and she's ready to go to war with him. And you have that big climactic showdown at her house. And because they did it in the reverse order, they had no idea what to do for this third film. And I saw that comment. I mean, my hat's off to that random commenter, but that made the most sense to me. It's like they completely screwed themselves over with how they wrote this film because they wanted to get that big splashy showdown in the first film, and it just completely took the momentum out of their the writing. So
You're giving them you're assuming that they planned this whole trilogy from the start.
no. So I'm saying they definitely
No,
have.
no.
Yeah.
No, but I completely agree with that comment. That makes way more sense and fits Laurie's character to a T,
Right.
other than this weird choppiness that's happened. Like she literally goes from this super, what do you call it? Like a bunker person, right? Like
Yeah.
a bunker person to this Susie homemaker that makes pies and reads and wants to go visit Japan for the cherry blossoms. Like it's just right after her daughter is killed. Like it's so hard to believe, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb in the story.
He's still out there, right? Like,
I also agree.
And David, our murdered ghost boy, you had something to say?
No, I was just gonna say I really like that random commenter that Steven brought up, and hopefully somebody with amazing editing skills in the future takes these three movies and somehow like edits it together. Yeah, like retcons it into like a 3.5 hour movie.
Go ahead, Pumpkin King, Pumpkin Lord.
I figured it out.
Do you need a drink of water?
I figured it out. What if? Now hear me out. What if the first movie is a copycat and botches it, and then Michael Myers wants to leave jail to claim his throne like Pumpkin Lord, and then the third movie is the showdown? I call dibs. I will do it. I will make that movie.
You're gonna fund it and film it and all
I
that?
will fund it.
All right.
Called Pumpkin Lord Production Studios.
by the way, the original film was 90 minutes. It was 91 minutes.
Yeah, it was lean, mean fighting machine that is well regarded as a horror classic that lives on through the ages. I will find it hard to believe that this is just one of those things that go, oh yeah, it was a part of that Halloween trilogy.
I think you should have had a bare resemblance of some sort of arc for Laurie to guide you through from one movie to the next, and they didn't plan for that. I think.
Right. Yeah.
It's sad. I just think that Jamie Lee Curtis is a fantastic actress, and I think she deserves better.
I completely agree. I think she was great in this, and it's weird because you can actually see where she switches back into character in the movie is when she's right after she fakes her suicide, right? And you think she's killed herself, and she goes, and it's like this whole other person. It's like she switches right back into the character that was originally written for her. Right after that, she goes, "You think I would kill myself?" And then she shoots that kid.
This would have
dead.
worked really well if during her memoirs narration throughout the movies, like we saw like her like trying to adjust to normal life without knowing Michael was coming. But we already hit a point where she was like, "I'm so well adjusted now after all this trauma. It's been 4 years." Like we didn't get to see any of her trying to become well adjusted, so it would have made her switching back all the more enjoyable. You know?
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Well, I'm gonna ask something of the group since we've all have very strong hate feelings for it. I want you all to pick one good thing from the movie. Steven,
Oh, oh,
you can stay out of it because you've already said you thought it was filmed well and you like Jamie Lee
I
Curtis.
can give a specific answer as well. I can
Okay,
think of
okay.
something. Yeah.
So, Pumpkin Lord, what is it?
I
Trick or
go
treat?
first. I go first.
All right, go ahead.
My favorite part of this movie is the opening scene. I do think the first scene of this movie in the house babysitting is very well done. It draws you in, it ends in the death of a child. It's interesting and set up a great start to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Very sad to see it fall apart.
Yeah, I agree. Anyone else without repeating what Johnny said?
I will say that I think that that one scene with Caleb and his father, where his father Caleb was like, "I'm leaving," and his father said, like, "I hope you find love." It was like a very sweet father son moment in otherwise a very awful, terrible movie, and I
Yeah.
just felt like in I felt like the movie had these moments where it was like, if they worked a little bit on the romance, I could see where they were going with Caleb's character. Like they could have figured things out, but it was just so bad. Like you have to really pick through like the trash
It's
to kind of
there's a lot
find.
of trash, Steven.
Yeah,
He
What?
literally has a weird psychic connection with Michael Myers, and it's like the evil gets passed to him supernaturally. Like that's what it kind of hints at.
Don't
yeah,
don't get me
Anointed.
started. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't get
it
me
seems.
started on about how he looked him in the eye and he learned that he had the same darkness that he had or some nonsense. Oh my god.
Yeah, that
I'm
scene
That
was like really poorly written and shot.
Nick, why don't you tell
I'm
us what you think,
No,
Nick?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go before someone steals mine. I'm gonna say I will jump off Steven's point and say that the father was the best part of the movie for me. He was the only character that felt like a real human being.
yeah,
Like he's mad at his son that he shows up late, but he like gets him a motorcycle to help him. Help him. He knows that he's had a hard go at life, right?
yes,
And
yes.
it's so contrast to the mother who's this weird like just so not like a real mother. Like it just felt so like fake. Like
She,
like oh, I just need her to be as nasty as possible. I don't care if she acts like a real human being. Just make her nasty, so it makes it so it's easy. Like make it believable when he goes to become a killer. Like it didn't feel right. Whereas the father was loving, he cared, but he also was disappointed in his son. Like he disappointed in the way he came out. So I love the father, and I wish more characters were written like him, like that balance between, um, you know, disappointment and love, right, or anger and love, or sadness and love. He was like right in the middle of that, and it worked really well. Whereas everyone was just off the deep end in the opposite corners of the map. Like Lori was in the weird Susie Homemaker, and the mother's in this weird like misery, Stephen King novel Misery. I forgot her name, Kathy Bates,
Kathy
playing
Bates.
Kathy Bates.
Yes,
So
I thought of her as well.
it was just it
As the
didn't
mother.
work. Yeah, it didn't work.
Didn't she try to kiss Caleb in the lips or something when he
I,
was telling her that he was leaving?
yeah, it
It was
was.
like I was
It
like,
was
what were they
weird.
going for? Like
Yeah,
there, like I don't. They didn't hint at this set.
They were
They
just
didn't
trying
no.
to
hint
smash
at it.
every like stereotype that
Yeah.
thing that happens in horror movies all together.
All right, David, Ghost
Well,
Murder Ghost Boy, give it to
yeah,
me quick.
like I said in the skip, like the first 20 minutes is what I liked, but I won't copy what Johnny says.
Don't
So
do it.
even though I already said it, Pumpkin Lord. All right, but I will say the funnest part that I just kind of like, what, this movie's gonna do whatever it wants to do, and I'm just gonna imagine Michael doing these things instead of Michael 2.0 Robin Hood prodigy Corey was the was the junkyard scene with all those kills. It just felt like a goofy slasher horror
Yeah,
movie kills. Like yes, they were bloody. Yes, they were like violent. maybe a little too much, but I was like, you know what, whatever. This movie is already off the rails. It's already written horribly, so I'm just gonna enjoy like the outlandish violence, and then I'll just be done with this movie and never revisit it again in my life.
Yeah, I agree. That was the junkyard scene was a good scene. Nick, murdered shy guy boy. What hit me with your favorite thing about this movie? Say something nice, since you only said mean things.
Can I say something that was laughably but bad and that made me laugh
No,
hysterically?
that
Cop
is
out. Cop
that
That
is
out.
a
is
cop out.
gaslighting.
Cop
That
out.
is gaslighting. We don't
It's a
gaslight.
gaslighting, like
Okay.
Didn't the teacher ever tell you to say something nice?
Yeah, but my mom said, tell the truth.
Oh,
Um,
If you
snap.
have nothing, if you have nothing nice to say, I will give you this pass this once.
I got one for you, Nick. I'll say one for Nick if Nick,
What,
Nick can't come up with something.
Nick? Do you agree? Do you
I mean-
off? Do
I
you,
mean,
wa-
if
you
Steven
offer
can
your
say
opinion
something,
to Nick.
Steven can say something, and then I'll just I'll see if I can still think of something. Like, go ahead, give me more time. Go ahead, Steven.
I will say that one thing that was nice in this film was like, even though Allison's romance with Caleb made absolutely no sense and just wasn't built out, like they didn't even attempt to make him her like ex-boyfriend who messed up his life by accidentally killing that kid, and then they rekindled their romance. Like it
yeah.
would have been such an easy setup, but they didn't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she put him in a costume, if you can suspend your disbelief that they would get together, and they went to like a bar and danced and had fun as like teenagers. It was nice to see that in a Halloween film because you're so used to seeing kids in trick-or-treating costumes and then like teenagers having, sex in the original film, that it was like kind of like a throwback to, I felt like it was a throwback to the original film where it was headed with like Allison eventually hooking up with Caleb, but didn't go there. But I thought that one scene with the bar and stuff was a nice touch. So yeah.
Johnny.
Very quickly, Steven, they were 21. You
Oh, they were.
miscalculated.
Oh, I thought they were like.
That's why he could buy beer for the high schoolers.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
I did like that he did kill the high schoolers. They were kind of jerks.
They were band geeks, by the way. Band geeks were
They
really.
were hardcore. And
That was for sure Danny McBride's idea.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, do you agree?
So I will say the one thing that I liked about this movie, honestly, is the fact that they killed him. Like, legitimately, spoiler alert, they throw him into a thresher. He is officially dead. Like, I feel like at this point, it's your moral obligation. Because, like, she stabbed him in the hand. And I was like, you have and then she stabbed him in the side. And that annoyed me because I was like, you have an obligation to just stab him in the face right now. Just over and over. Like, stabbing him in the chest and he got up immediately like The Undertaker. Like, so the fact that they threw him into the thresher, I was like, thank you for once. It just felt like somebody finally had an actual smart idea. And I can appreciate that. Like, thank you for actually being smart and being like, if we want to get rid of this guy forever, we have to see him be torn to shreds in front of our eyes.
So evil died that night.
Evil died
Yes, and
tonight.
thank God it did. And that was also the end of the movie when it was.
Evil
Did
dies
anyone-
tonight.
Evil
Evil
dies
dies
tonight.
tonight.
Evil
Evil
dies
dies
tonight.
tonight.
Oh wait. So
Steven Top Gun Maverick falls victim. The final victim of Michael Myers is a sad death. We will all mourn it for years. But we have our final girl, Johnny the Pumpkin Lord. You are the final girl.
Evil
You
died
have
tonight.
escaped Michael Myers on
Johnny is a
Halloween
girl.
night. Johnny, what will your memoirs be called?
They will be called Pumpkin Lord is better than Michael Myers.
It's very uninspired.
The trilogy.
God, it's a trilogy.
Yeah, it's a trilogy. Gonna make bank on this one.
Please, dear God, no. We thank you for listening to this review of Halloween Ends. We have our victims. We have our final girl. We have our verdict. It's going to be a skip for Halloween Ends for the spooky screen. But maybe rewatch Halloween Kills. Maybe that's the silver lining of all of this.
Or Halloween Begins. Is that the first one?
No,
No, it's just Halloween 2018.
I say
Oh,
watch
okay.
Halloween 1979 and you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
watch,
honestly-
watch the first 3 of those, and then you're done.
Honestly, this whole trilogy is a big skip. You don't even worry about this. Just
No,
watch
the original, the first one in the new trilogy isn't bad.
Yeah, it is good. I will agree. It is good. Thank you for listening. Again, subscribe, like, comment, share. This has been the Spooky Screen. This has been the Spooky Screen.
McQueen.
We wish you a happy Halloween, and we hope that Michael Myers doesn't get you. Thank you, and good night. Let's chant. Evil,
Evil
die
die
tonight.
tonight.
Right.
Like
Evil
and
die
subscribe.
tonight.
Like
Good
and
Die
subscribe.
tonight.